It's one of the great mysteries of our time.
There's something weird going on in that area.
For centuries, it has swallowed up its victims.
I'm going down. Repeat, going down.
Who ever heard of 5 aircraft disappearing in one night?
Leaving many buried in an underwater graveyard.
They would explore these wrecks and find bodies at the depths of the ocean.
But is the story more legend than truth?
If you put all the facts down and put it down as nonfiction, people wouldn't believe you.
And what can science tell us?
Lose control of the airplane that went into a spiral dive and would end up with a disaster.
About the mysteries of the Bermuda Triangle.
Okay, begin hoist. I'm in. Rescue briefing. Complete.
Off the coast of southern Florida, the United States Coast Guard has been searching the skies and seas for a twin-engine private plane with 3 passengers on board. Shortly after 11 a.m., it disappeared from air traffic control radars.
There was an aircraft, a Piper Aztec, that was lost within the area called the Bermuda Triangle this past June of 2005. And the circumstances of that flight are still fairly sketchy. It was a Part 91 flight, which means it's a private flight, conducted under instrument flight rules, which means the pilot is in contact with a radar facility for the entire duration of the flight. Coast Guard would launch some of their resources in the area, both in the form of helicopters and in the form of ships, and any other aircraft that might be transiting the area would be asked to either listen for an ELT, an emergency location transmitter, or if they were in VFR conditions, to look for possible survivors.
After an exhaustive 24-hour search, no wreckage, no evidence, no survivors are found. The search is suspended.
Unfortunately, that happens, and some searches will go on for a longer duration, but in general, a search for a light aircraft that disappears off radar in the middle of the ocean, it's a probably 1 or 2 day search at the most, and then those resources are recalled.
This recent tragedy is just the latest in a string of mysteries to unfold over what some call the most treacherous waters on the planet. 500,000 square miles, sometimes referred to as the Bermuda Triangle.
The Bermuda Triangle is where planes take off, never to be seen again, where ships sail over the horizon, never heard from again, yachts disappear from the face of the earth for no known reason. And it's probably the core motivation for more sea stories, legends, and tales of the ocean than any other place in all of the oceans on the earth.
The Bermuda Triangle is an area of the Atlantic Ocean that runs from Miami southeast to Puerto Rico, northeast to Bermuda, and heads west back to Miami. For centuries, the area has been plagued by the unexplained disappearances of planes and ships.
The area known as the Bermuda Triangle has a history, and I guess when something happens out here, it's magnified.
The triangle is so exotic to people and so attractive because it's the last place on Earth that is undiscovered. Everything else has been physically discovered.
As early as the 16th and 17th centuries, European explorers have reported seeing strange lights and finding ships floating intact, but devoid of crew. Author Rob Simone finds this a common thread woven through the triangle's folklore.
But when it comes to the subject of ghost ships, yes, there has been cases reported of ghost ships from many different wayfaring cultures.
In 1780, the warship General Gates disappears. yet no British vessel claims to sink her. During the 19th century, at least 3 more stories of ghost ships surface. Cargo and merchant vessels are found silently riding the waves without anyone on board.
I think there are things that happen out at sea that can only be described in terms of mythology or poetry, because they go beyond the limits of our rational thinking.
Throughout the 20th century and still today, commercial, military, and private aircraft have vanished without a trace. The most famous case is that of Flight 19, when 5 Navy planes disappeared in 1945. In his 2004 book about the Bermuda Triangle, John Claazz suggests that the number of mysterious cases are countless.
The old line is that there's been 20 aircraft that have disappeared and 50 vessels that have vanished in the history of the Triangle. And you have some websites, you have some books maybe still repeating that, when actually there's about 200 aircraft disappearances in the last 50 years. And if you count all the yachts and smaller vessels, close to probably 1,000, 2,000, who knows?
Explanations for what has caused these tragedies run from the scientific to the paranormal.
The main theories to explain the Bermuda Triangle have been UFOs. They've been very popular. Power sources from Edgar Cayce's Atlantis. Sea serpents, electromagnetic phenomenon, which bends time and space or can just disintegrate an aircraft or a ship. Many natural causes, mini canes, subsea earthquakes, plain old clumsy pilots and shipmasters. There have been many exotic theories that run the gamut from the very prosaic to the very complex.